A few months after the daring return of the scarab Khepri from the world of the dead, invited by Demeter, Breezy and her collaborators headed to the city of Eleusis to participate in the initiation festivities of the major rites of the Eleusinian mysteries. These festivities coincided with the end of a millennium and the opening of the grotto leading to the sacred cave, where every 1,000 years the magic dropper was blessed by the Almighty. During the closing festivities, around the great hypostyle hall of the Telesterion, where the Carites, Aglaia, Euphrosyne, and Thalia were in charge of entertaining and delighting everyone with their songs and dances, Breezy, after tasting the Ciceon, felt sick and disgusted, and thinking she was going to vomit, she separated from the group, followed only by the protective cat Cypress. She lost her memory, and the first thing she did was drop her glittering amulet, which someone picked up and gave to the Hierophant. Then she transformed into a mad burst, lifting the cat Cypress and disappearing to an unknown destination. By the time her relatives realized she was missing, it was too late. Breezy's mysterious disappearance caused a change in the lives of her collaborators. At the Thracian palace, they were desperately trying to find her, and apparently, her father and uncles couldn't keep up with searching the entire planet for Breezy, while also ensuring the remote building was adequately protected. The evil Hecate, with her spells, had orchestrated Breezy's destruction down to the smallest detail. From the underworld, on the crystalline surface of her cerulean cauldrons, she could visualize the girl and her cat living on a very distant continent, with a remote tribe that apparently crafted giant stone heads and temples in a unique pyramidal shape, and she could also visualize very little protection at the Palace of Thrace. Everything was going according to her best interests, the truculent goddess told herself. Finally, dawn arrived on the day appointed for the opening of the grotto, and Breezy still hadn't appeared. However, everything seemed normal in the enchanted region of the Rhodope Mountains. Accompanied by the menacing barking of her dogs, Hecate emerged from a cave near the Palace of Thrace, where the gigantic grotto leading to the sacred cave would soon open. From her position, she could see that 70% of the palace's protection had disappeared. Half an hour later, the gigantic cave began to open on the steep mountainside, while Hecate, the most powerful of the earthly deities, enjoyed the imposing scene. For several hours, the intrepid Anemoi patrolled the area until something indescribable made the goddess Hecate herself tremble, and she cautiously hid. It was the arrival of the Almighty to bless the magic dropper. The indescribable energetic force surrounded the majestic Palace of Thrace, and then penetrated the newly opened cave, heading for the sacred cave. After 2 endless hours, the same force left the sacred cave and disappeared. Everything around the Palace of Thrace seemed to return to normal when the Earth's surface opened up, revealing the imposing chariot driven by Hades and accompanied by the maiden. They sought refuge under a cliff so as not to be seen by the wind gods. Wasting no time, the Queen of the Dead, who was wearing a long black cloak and a long veil, jumped out of the chariot. Hades offered her the helmet that makes its wearer invisible, but she refused to use it. She quickly jumped down the steep slope and entered through the opening toward the sacred cave. After a few endless minutes, she sped off, something wrapped in the cloak, took a giant leap into the void, landing very close to where her eccentric husband was waiting for her. She climbed into the chariot, and in a swift maneuver swallowed them up. Hecate watched from afar, and with an unusual smile, she also disappeared. After the 12 hours that the door of the gigantic cave was supposed to be open, it, with its characteristic creaking, closed. After Hades and Persephone arrived in the underworld with the divine lute, the conspirators gathered in the Hermetic Palace to celebrate the audacious coup. Queen Persephone was overjoyed, and Hades felt like the new ruler of the world. But when they discovered the precious sacred object that the kings believed was the magic dropper, Hecate determined that the object was divine and dazzling, but definitely not the peace they had risked. A disillusioned queen explained when and how everything had happened, from entering the sacred cave and selecting the piece in question, as it occupied the place of honor among several relics arranged in the room. There was something fishy going on here, Hecate determined, concluding that nothing could be done for the moment. Very practical, she said. We'll have time to plan what will happen in the next millennium. In the meantime, we need to know what's being said on Olympus, because when that little girl appears, if she was ever missing, there will be complications and complaints to the king of the gods. Days later, Breezy and her pet, who had been living among the Olmec tribe in Mesoamerica, appeared. She regained her memory, and everything apparently returned to normal. Breezy appeared on Olympus, accompanied by her inseparable pets and the Titan Prometheus, and before the Council of the Gods, demanded that Zeus open an investigation to find those who had robbed the palace of Thrace. The thief was so cunning that he had to be a deity, since not even the Anemoi had been able to discover such a feat. Sacred relics stolen. Mystery shrouds all, no dropper. On Olympus, the theft from the palace of Thrace raged on, but the king of the gods did very little to investigate, and over time everything was forgotten, and no one was ever found guilty.